80% of black women will never get married. You are too masculine. It has been proven that 80% of black women will never get married, but there are many different opinions on why this is true. We can blame it on everything from feminism to white supremacy. But one thing is for certain. No other group of people in America thinks they have this type of problem. The problem is that the typical black woman has become too masculine in her thinking, demeanor, and actions. Black women are looking for a submissive man who will do whatever she says. Black women don't want someone who is going to challenge them or hold them accountable. They want someone who will let them make all of the decisions and treat him like a queen. The typical black woman looks and dresses no different than a sex worker or drag queen. They wear these Muppet eyelashes, excessive makeup and bundles of weave, extension, lace fronts and wigs trying to look like the women on the screen, when in reality they are looking more like caricatures of themselves. They have become such caricatures that even men who would otherwise find them attractive can't stand them anymore. They are so concerned with being powerful women, they have forgotten that they are women. You are too masculine. When a man looks at you, he doesn't see the beautiful woman that you are. He sees the strong, independent and powerful black woman that you have become. You have forgotten that men want women who are feminine and soft. They want someone they can take care of, love and cherish to show their appreciation for all that women do in our lives as mothers, wives, daughters and sisters. Masculine women attract other women and effeminate males who admire their strength because they don't know how to be vulnerable, feminine and agreeable anymore. But unfortunately masculine women do not attract men because no man wants a woman who does not need him in her life. That is why 80%, yes 80%, of black single women will never get married because they have forgotten what it means to be a woman. It is time for black women to start opening their eyes and see what has been happening in front of them for decades. They have become their own worst enemies by joining forces with feminism against black men and selling their souls to white supremacy and corporate America. If you're a black woman watching this video, I want to make sure you are not offended. You may have been conditioned over the years to believe that you are victimized by men in general and black men in particular. But I am here to set the record straight. Your so-called victimhood is nothing more than a false narrative created by feminists, who know that if they can convince women of color that they are victims of black men, then they will have no choice but to side with them against their own men. The truth is, black women are not victims of black men. They are the most privileged group in America. They enjoy more rights and freedoms than any other demographic group in this country, including most white people. That is why they have convinced many young black women that they are victims of black men. They have convinced them that they are being oppressed and held down by us, simply because we are men. This is why so many young black women support the Democratic Party, which has done nothing but enslave them since its inception. Black women are more likely than any other group of people to attend college and get an advanced degree. Does this mean they are better educated? No, it just means that they can buy into the system that tells them you must be like white women in order to get ahead. White women in the West have always been seen as the ideal woman because they have been able to make it work for them. They were able to use their feminism and the independent woman trope and make themselves acceptable for society. But black women should know how dangerous this idea is because if you behave like a man then you will be treated like one. The Bible says that men were created first, then women were created after. This means that God made men the heads of households, and women should respect that role. If you don't believe me then you probably won't believe anything else I say about God or Christianity, so why bother watching any further? Women need to put their husbands first in every aspect of their lives. Your husband needs to be your top priority before children or your career. This is how God intended it to be. If he needs help at work or is sick, you should be there for him even if that means taking care of him all day long instead of going out with friends like some people do. No offense. Men are more likely than women are to lead others effectively. Therefore, it's important for them not only have leadership skills but also be healthy enough physically and mentally so they can properly carry out those duties without having any issues getting in the way. Black women are the only group of women in America who cannot take for granted that if they work hard, get an education and play by the rules, there will be a black husband, with a decent job waiting for them. It is easy to see why black women would be frustrated, and it's even easier to understand why they have lost hope. If a woman has no black men in her life, or at least, none who are willing to commit, then she cannot take for granted that if she works hard, gets an education and plays by the rules, there will be a black husband with a decent job waiting for her. In fact, only 22% of all black children live with both parents, the lowest percentage of any ethnic or racial group, and a statistic that has been steadily declining since the 1960s. And that is one of the main reasons why black women are more likely than any other group of women to be single. This is an astonishingly low number when you consider that 72% of white children and 60% of Hispanic children live with both parents. It is true that some believe these numbers are due entirely or partially due to black culture, but neither does this excuse the fact that black families are under attack from all sides. From the prison industrial complex, which drains money and resources from communities to pay for the imprisonment of black men, to the school-to-prison pipeline which punishes young black boys for being bad in school, which often means being outspoken or active in some way, to gentrification, which forces poor people out of their homes and into ghettos where they have no jobs or other opportunities for advancement. All of these things contribute to the high poverty rates in black communities. And while some may argue that it is simply a matter of personal responsibility, it should be noted that many poor people are not poor because they lack motivation or work ethic. Black families are under attack in ways that other families simply aren't. Black men are more likely to date and marry outside their race than any other group of men. Black women, on the other hand, are less likely to intermarry with men of other races. A lot of people think that this is a good thing because they believe that gender equality is important, and we shouldn't have double standards when it comes to how men and women behave. Gender equality, also known as sexual equality or equality of the sexes, refers to the view that men and women should receive equal treatment, and should not be discriminated against based on gender. It is a term used by feminist movements and sex-positive feminism to give a name to the radical notion that women and men are equal and should have the same outcomes. There are many different opinions on 80% of black women never getting married. Many suggest that black men don't want masculine women, which has resulted in a lack of interest in marrying them. Others argue that black women are too masculine in their thinking, demeanor, and actions. They say this is why they aren't interested in marrying them either. However, it's also important to note that 80% of black women will never get married because they're more likely than any other group of people to attend college and get an advanced degree. They are more likely to be hyper-independent and not need to rely on a man for financial support. They are more likely than any other group of people to be career-oriented and focused on their own success as opposed to that of their partners. As a result, many black women have no interest in being married because they don't feel like it's necessary for them. Conclusion. We can all agree that this is an unfair situation for black women. However, it is important to understand the reasons why so many black women will never get married. The first thing we need to realize is that women are more concerned with being powerful than they are feminine. They have forgotten that they are women and are now only concerned with being treated equally in society as men. They feel like they must be masculine in order to succeed at work or school and therefore don't need men anymore because they do everything themselves, including raising children without any help from fathers.